everybody, and welcome to the late night edition of the Sports Exchange. Am I loud enough? I don't know. Who cares? Doesn't matter. I'm always this way anyways because I say, really, seriously, really, really, seriously, really. See, I have it on the hat. You can see it. Doesn't matter. Now Candy got me all zoomed in, so not only do I have to say it, I wear it. Great marketing stuff. Anyways, glad to have JB Ellis back from the other side of the world. Welcome back, Mr. Ellis.
Good to be back. Good to be back.
Second segment, you're going to talk about your trip to Japan. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing from you a whole lot more. All right, Penson's back again. Penson, what's going on?
Not much. How you guys doing tonight? Let's rock and roll.
Oh, don't worry. We'll rock and roll and then some. George Acorn, as long as he doesn't steal tomorrow's thunder on the show, he won't get in the doghouse that he's been in 9 million times over in 45 plus years. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Every time he's been in, he's gotten out, so he's the only one that gets away with it.
Oh, yeah. Good to be back on.
All right, the Sports Nut. Glad to have you on. I hope you're subscribed to our channel. If you aren't, please do so. Otherwise, we're looking forward to you're able to come out there and talk with us tonight. God bless. I already have somebody in there right away, so please subscribe to our channel. But we're just so delighted to have you on the telecast. Jacob Christner, Mr. Opinion. He's back.
Mr. Fact. Pensman, I see you shaved today. Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you trying to say that you have my eyes, which aren't very good? That's all right, Jacob.
No, it's a good time to get on here. You know, I enjoyed these times. You know that.
Oh, yeah, I know that. And, of course, Candy Ebling.
Hi, guys. What's going on? There's so much sports happening right now. It's a good time to, be a sports fan or a sports media broadcaster, photographer. I don't know. All of that above.
Xavier, what's going on? Glad to have you on the broadcast tonight. All right, let's get to the topic because we're loaded. Show, obviously, the legacy of George Foreman passed away at the age of 76. I had an opportunity to interview Muhammad Ali many years ago, who I view as the greatest of all time. And what Muhammad Ali did was legendary, beating him on with the rope-a-dope and eventually knocked Foreman out when he was a heavy underdog when Foreman was knocking everybody out. So, meanwhile, George Foreman, not only what he did on as a boxer, but what he did off the outside the ring is unbelievable, including his George Foreman grill. That's all I'm going to say about it. I love Muhammad Ali and what he did to George Foreman, but George Foreman certainly rebounded in a big way, and he taught a lot of other individuals what it's like to rebound from a tough setback. Yes, Cyberuski, you love using the George Foreman grill. Also, another special shout out to Cyberuski. Congratulations to Cyberuski, got married over the weekend. God bless. I hope you go out there and have a wonderful life. All right, Cyberuski, we'll go ahead. Why don't you give him a dog check? Just give him a Jacob dog check. It's not anything about your behavior. Say dog check.
Well, Cyberuski, just make sure you don't get your stuff run over, your Cybertruck.
But just give him a dog check. That'll keep him happy.
Yeah.
Dog check.
Dog check.
There you go. You got it. One more than you normally get. You're welcome. George Foreman was a great king on the hill. All right, go ahead, JB. You lead it off since you're back. What do you think about George, the big George?
He was one of the best ever. I mean, he fought. How old was he with his last fight?
47.
48, I think, wasn't it?
48, yeah.
You know, okay, I couldn't imagine getting into the ring at my age, and I'm about that age. So, and to think he was competitive, let alone when he was younger. Unfortunately, I don't remember much about his younger time because I didn't get a chance to watch much of his fights when he was younger. But damn, when you see the footage of him, he was powerful, strong dude. Boxing isn't like that anymore. We don't have those great heavyweights.
All right, let's go to the chat room. Joshua Doris being a good boy tonight. What's going on, Penman? I don't know. He's in there. Good stuff. I made glizzies on the George Foreman tonight. Chris make all kinds of stuff on the George Foreman grill. I never make anything on it because whatever I make, I destroy. But Katie is the brains of the family when it comes to the cooking. So I love cooking glizzies on the George Foreman grill. Good to know. We have some food stuff. I already had my meal over at the neighborhood at Applebee's. That chicken sandwich was awesome. What are your thoughts, George, about George Foreman?
Oh, I'm not going to say anything bad against the guy with my name. That's for damn sure. George Foreman, I can remember back when he waved that little American flag after he won at the Olympics. He had a flag in his hand. Somebody gave it to him on the sidelines, or his handler or his trainer, and then, he was so proud of that. He was so proud to be an American. so proud to win that Olympic gold medal for the United States. Went on to have a very good career, as you guys all know. And I love the fact that he named all his boys George. George. Ah, strange, but a true story. Can you imagine his wife calling George, time to take the trash out, and 5 of them look at mom and say, me? I mean, it's kind of funny. They named his kids all George.
George Booris is right. It is a novelty item, that's for sure. So, and of course, Cyberowski has them all down to GF 2500. So I guess they made a lot of different ones. So, anyways, with that said, let's put the chat. They're pretty lighthearted. They're definitely seeable. And we're talking about the entrepreneur of George Foreman. All right, Jacob, go ahead. What do you think about George Foreman?
Well, you brought up you brought up the whole thing about him being 48, when it was, and JB, just think about it. If you train long enough and everything, you might be able to get into one of those church gym type of shows, You might be able to get the first one, see if you could win or not.
Never know.
But, see, the thing about Foreman is, and just to let you know, George, why he named all his kids George, he had a reason for that. All his boys. He says, because if we all go down, we all go down together. If we all go up, we all go up together.
Oh.
So that's why he did that. But one of the things that made him, and this is, he was able to get away with this because of his ridiculous chin. I mean, I still remember that fight against Holyfield where he took 15 bombs in a row.
Right.
And I mean, I think it stumbled him maybe toward the end of the round, and then he even gave him a little slap back right at the end of the round, just whacked him just to show that he was there. And it's but he could get away with this, but he had that walk toward you and uppercut. See, no one else can get away with that now because they don't have that same chin. But his main reasoning why he was able to do it because he had those looping punches, they had that long extension. So that's why he's able to get that. Plus, you had that chin. So that's what made him one of the greatest. But what made him a great man was everything. They talked about that when he had his church and he was in his multi-million-dollar state, he'd do his church on Sunday. He would see one of the old ladies or old men faint or they were sick. He'd carry him to the hospital, and then he'd put down his credit card. He'd put down his credit card, and he'd pay for the whole bill.
Nice.
And
nice.
Just a good man.
And the one thing about George Foreman, though, he got humble as he got older. And even went out before he passed away, he even said, I would go after a rematch with Muhammad Ali because I tried to prepare one way to find a way to beat me. So he didn't want to have a rematch with Muhammad Ali. There's no way he could have fought him twice because he'd get outsmarted 9 million times over. Some guys want rematches. George Foreman was way too smart for that. We'll go to Candy, and then we'll go to Penman. Then we're going to have a little bit of fun with one of Joshua's comments, and I think it's okay. And the lightheart, and I'm only going to do this because of the George Foreman grill. I don't like to talk about food on the air, but to try to keep it a lighthearted segment, I'll do it. So, Candy, what are your thoughts, as far as I'm concerned, about the legacy of George Foreman?
So Foreman was inducted into the World Boxing Hall of Fame and the International Boxing Hall of Fame. They rate Foreman as the 8th greatest heavyweight of all time. He is ranked the 9th greatest puncher of all time.
No.
Yes, he is an ordained Christian minister. He is a father of 12. He has 7 girls and 5 boys. Yes, as you talked about the George Foreman grill, by 2011, and that was a long time ago, he had sold more than 100 million units worldwide. In 1999, he sold the commercial rights for the grill for a whopping $138 million. And that was back in 99. Could you imagine how much money that would be in today's day? But a great boxer.
There aren't 8 stronger punchers in this whole world. There's no way.
Don't tell that to Joe Frazier. When you talk about the advanced headache, Joe Frazier got a couple of them when good old George Foreman laid him out a couple of times. All right, Pensman, your closing thoughts about the legacy of George Foreman. Then I'm going to have a question that I'll only do it one time in the spirit of George Foreman. So Josh and the guys, food is normally not being discussed on the show, but I'm only going to make an exception to it one time about what everybody had to eat. So go ahead, Penman, your best recollection about George Foreman.
Yes, George. I do remember him as King of the Hill, and I remember Louis Anderson as King of the Hill also. So that I remember him also. But as for him, he was also he was a fantastic boxer. He was one of the legends. He fought Tyson, Holyfield, Frazier, all those good people. And most people don't know this, but he wasn't acting. He went on Home Improvement one time. So he did really good with that too. So that's my take on George Foreman.
So yeah, I think George Foreman's the most powerful fighter ever. But when you get outclassed by Muhammad Ali like you do, it's a story. Muhammad Ali reduced him to nothing because he outsmarted him. You can have all the power in the world, but if you're laying on the ropes and because here's the thing, I had an opportunity to spend a week, I repeat, a week with Muhammad Ali at the Allen Park Gym in North Miami. Everybody knows it gets my book. There's that picture of myself and Muhammad Ali. We talked about the Foreman fight a lot throughout the week. He just simply told me that. I'll never forget that. Hey, I laid on the ropes and outsmarted this guy. By the time he got tired, there was no gas station to fill up, and he didn't. That's why he put it out and ate. So there you have it. All right, quick question around there. And I'm only doing it once, Jackson, guys. Don't ever bring it up another show. But tonight, in spirit of the grill, what do you have for dinner tonight, Penman?
Noodles.
Okay, good enough. Candy, I know what you have, but say it anyway. What else does?
So we went to Applebee's and I had a chicken sandwich.
And I did too. So that takes 3 of us. JB, what do you have for dinner tonight?
I had a Popeye's chicken sandwich.
Oh,
is that spicy?
I had the spicy one, yes. It's not that spicy, though.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
I heard they're really spicy, but I wasn't sure.
I'll go back to New Orleans many years ago, back in 1982, when I got hammered over at Pat O'Brien. Joe knows all about that when I was able to go out there and drink back then. And I got hammered with so many different hurricanes. It was ridiculous. And I was actually going back there, and my friend said, let's go to Popeyes. I'm hungry. And I'll tell you one thing. That Popeyes chicken erased all that hurricane stuff like you wouldn't believe. But, man, that was one spicy sandwich over at Popeyes. All right, Mike, what do you have for dinner?
Penny pasta with marinara sauce.
And last but not least, Jacob, with the man with the nice hair, chin and hair, so Cyberuski says.
Definitely not that. Not what George had. I had pizza.
There you go. There, around the horn. We had it all. There you go. That's the last time we did. And Brian Penner had a cookout. I'll tell you, one guy who probably had access to a lot of sushi is a guy by the name of J.V. Ellis, who, guess what, gets to talk about his trip to Japan. It comes in the Dodgers at the Tokyo Dome. And so tell us a little about your trip there, and then we're going to talk about how Fox handled the broadcast. So go ahead, JB. The floor is yours.
So, I mean, Japan is baseball crazy. We've all got to baseball games. It's loud. People are cheering. There's a lot of noise. Totally different in Japan. When the pitcher has the ball, you could hear a pin drop. I've never seen that before in a baseball game. It was wild. They obviously love Ohtani. There's no question about it. All the Japanese players would give it a warm greeting, but Ohtani is by far the most popular. He's also the best, but that's besides the point. But, everywhere you look in Japan, you see Ohtani's face. He's on billboards. He's in commercials. He's all over the place. Great marketing team great marketing work his team's doing out there, getting him paid, doing all that. The Tokyo Dome wasn't the greatest venue in the world. It's a dome. It's nice. Good place for baseball, but it's a dome. I like outdoor baseball, but it was cold and probably wasn't the right time of year for outdoor baseball, so thank God it was a dome. The Cubs look like crap. It's like they were jet lagged and didn't really play very well. The Dodgers are a super team, and they just manhandled the Cubs. I do question Council's use of Imanaga in the first game. He's a Japanese pitcher pitching in Japan for the Cubs. Why you take him out after 4 innings and not let him go 5 in case your team gets the win in 5 innings? so he could have got a win in his home country. I disliked him pulling him after 4, and then the bullpen gave up some runs in game 1. Game 2, I actually watched in an IMAX theater because we only had tickets for game 1. We sat with a lot of the locals. They love their baseball. They were cheering for both sides. Obviously, though, like I said, they were crazy for Ohtani. Even the broadcast, which was the Japanese broadcast, you probably couldn't go about 2 minutes without seeing Ohtani on screen. I remarked we should have a drinking game that every time they show Ohtani, we take a shot. I don't think we would have got through the top of the first
You would have
inning.
died.
Alcohol poisoning by the end of the first inning, but by the top of the first, we would have been done. But what a great experience. That the Japanese people are very, very warm, kind. Great story. So my wife had knee surgery, and my knee was actually hurting me, and the seats we had were actually, there was no leg room. So I went to security and asked if there was something that they could do. Most stadiums would say, too bad, you have your seat, go sit. They actually found seats for us. Actually better than what we bought. And we had good seats. We were in the upper deck right by the right-handed batter's box. Great seats. They ended up moving us to the bleachers in the 7th row, which was phenomenal. And we had plenty of leg room. But, the seats were a little no leg room, so it wasn't very comfortable. I'm about 6 foot, and there wasn't much leg room. But just a great experience, great country. If you ever have a chance to travel, I would definitely put it on your list. They love baseball. The Dome, I would have preferred it to be at a different stadium, but like I said, the time of year, I think MLB had to make sure the games got played. So you get what you get with something like that. And unfortunately, it wasn't very competitive. The Cubs just didn't show up.
Well, glad to hear your stories. I knew that you were going to be on the hook for them when you came back. So now we're back half the top because that Fox actually faced backlash with the remote broadcast. Let's go around the horn with this one, Penman. What are your thoughts about the fact that Fox didn't invest any money and they ended up doing a remote broadcast?
Can I defer this one?
Yeah, you can defer it. You don't have to. Baseball's not your topic anyways. Okay. Well, we'll let you go ahead and save it for a burning shot. Candy, what do you think?
Everybody's trying to cut costs every which way they can. And it's just another way to do it. Like remote broadcast. We saw those back in the day when it was COVID years. And, they would stay inside their home stadium and yet they'd take the feed. Do I like it? No, I think when you're going into a different market like that and you're marketing yourselves, you put everything, you do the best way you can, and that includes sending your best team over there because they're the face of the broadcast too. I would think, knowing that, like, we went to the Super Bowl and we went to previews. Fox had their announcers. Granted, not game day announcers, but a lot of their talent in a room that you could go and talk to. Why not do that over in Japan and let Japanese people talk to them? And yes, obviously they speak a different language, but why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't, if you're going to, like the NFL markets themselves in other countries and stuff like that. Baseball, you could have learned something from that, I think.
I don't know. Hey, Joe, obviously you didn't do the remote broadcast, but what are your thoughts about the concept that that's what Fox indeed did?
You can't get the feel of what's happening. Part of your job as a broadcaster announcing a game is to describe the feel, the emotion. You can't get that watching it on TV. That's why you're the broadcaster. Vin Scully, Mel Allen, Phil Rizzuto, and I'm sure there's so many other great announcers I could go to. Could you imagine telling them, sit at home and just, call the game and don't worry about it. Just make it sound good. That's not how you do business. Fox has money. You could afford to send a crew there, and you can make it work. That's a joke. MLB does not get the respect it deserves, but at the same time, MLB does a lot of stupid things. Why it doesn't deserve credit that it should get.
Okay, good take. George?
I'm appalled by it, to be honest with you. As Scott and I have been in this business for over 45, 44, 45 years, and I've never seen, except like Candy said, except for the COVID year when everybody was doing it, not sending their broadcast teams. I just think it's a cheap way out for Fox Sports. They brag about their baseball coverage all year long, and I just can't believe they did that. I mean, unless one of the guys couldn't make it for personal reasons, well then get a different announcer, get a backup crew. But it makes no sense to me at all. This is a highlight of MLB in Japan, another country, international play. I just don't like it, Scott.
Jacob, you have all the opinions. What's your take on this one?
Well, the thing is, unfortunately, you guys are all correct. It's very, very tough to watch. But unfortunately, it's the cost cutting deal that the movie studios do it too. Like literally, I was watching an interview with Rob Lowe, and they said he's got a Fox. You brought up Fox. He's got a Fox game show right now. It shoots in Ireland. He said it is costs less money to bring 100 people over to do it in Ireland than it does to do anything in Los Angeles. Everything is cost cutting now, and if they're going to do remote, they're going to do remote. And it's like I look at that as the Vince McMahon way anyway, from way back when, because I was a wrestling fan forever. He did just because he used to do 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, he did 3 or 4 shows like at a time, stuff like that in different cities. He just remoted everything. He'd have 1 live crew and 2 remote crews, from his deal and stuff like that. So I've been used to the thing. We want to see it in the park. We want to remember Jack Buck, Harry Carey, Vin Scully. We want to remember all those. But the thing is now we're in such a different change where it's like we just got to hope that they don't ever try to remote the Super Bowl. But, just trying to get to that thing. But everything is just saving money, unfortunately.
I don't like it. Remember last year, Doc Emmerich did broadcast for NHL. Had to do them remote. You missed Doc Emmerich in hockey level, and the fact that was why he had to go out. So, no, it's crazy. There's a lot of things I will say after COVID-19 that have been the same. First of all, access to players in the clubhouse has been awful. The only good one I had, Joe, when you were gone, was Minnesota Twins. I got in their clubhouse. Otherwise, everything went back to normal when I had the Mets last weekend. But was able to make it work as it is. So. That's why a lot of great writers are retired nowadays. They're tired of their job being reduced to not what it used to be. So you might as well get out and get the pension early and let everybody else do it. Things are so much different. Remote broadcast, I understand during a pandemic, but not only so much this. And you have a national event, you have to make sure you have them there. And that's where we'll go with it. So with that said, one other topic I want to get to before we go out there and go to station break. This is a very controversial one, I might add. There's more than 500 players in the transfer portal despite March Madness. Is this out of control? We're going to go to a clip from Brian Baldinger that I had in Miami. But before I preface that, Candy, I want to point out that John Calipari dislikes the timing, and Steve Alford rips the current NIL and transfer portal framework and calls it utterly ridiculous. So Candy and I were down in Miami, covering the Miami Hurricane Pro Day, and I had an opportunity to talk to Brian Baldinger about this. Go ahead, roll it, Can. Number one, the NIL and the transfer portal. How big are they in your mind in terms of what they have done to change the landscape of college football?
Well, I can't believe the type of money that's being thrown out there. I believe in rewarding production, and I think a lot of these kids are being offered a lot of money without having to prove themselves, and I don't think that's a good path to go down.
There you go. There you have it, JB, where you talked about Brian Baldinger.
He's 100% right. I mean, the NILs are out of whack. Look at college basketball right now. We're 2 days in, and it's still in the middle of March Madness. There's still teams playing. There are 1,700 Division I kids in the transfer portal. And there are people that have left teams that are still playing in the Sweet 16. Pippen left Michigan. Somebody left Ole Miss. They can't play now because they're in the transfer portal. The whole system's out of whack. There's something wrong that you can have your season still going on and you have to stop playing because you're going to the transfer portal. The same thing happens with football before bowl season. They have the football transfer portal. It's just ridiculous. You know, and as far as a cap, I mean, there used to be no money. And what happened was boosters found a way around it and they'd give kids money. I'm sure if there's a cap, they'll find a way. You know, when you have money, you'll find a way to spend it. You know, these big schools, they'll find a way. I don't think that there's going to be any way to police it. The NCAA is at the end of its lifespan. We have mega conferences that are useless. You look at the NCAA tournament, there's no Cinderella story. You have 7 SEC teams. It's just disgusting. It's a horrible tournament. If this is what we have to look forward to year after year because NIL, it's not going to be good.
Well, it's insane that even 14 SEC teams made it to the tournament, although I knew a lot of them would go pretty quickly. George, what are your thoughts about NIL?
Well, I saw that Dick Vitale spoke out, and so did, of course, Tom Izzo. And they're both very much opinionated. And this whole situation has just gotten totally out of hand. And like Izzo said to the reporter, you know, say what you want about it. You may say this, you may say that. He says, these guys here bought into my program. These guys here are in this program for a reason. I'm not going to go and do that. Somebody else want to do that? Fine. Now, can they win by not going into the portal? Who knows? But Michigan State, when you hear from a guy like Izzo, you hear from 85-year-old Dick Vitale speaking up, and he doesn't like it either.
I hate it, baby.
Totally out of control. Yeah, baby. Good invitation, Jacob. I missed that from you.
Well, I had a little something before I turn over to Jacob. When Megan and I talked earlier, we talked about Shaka Smart telling the agents to stay away. He doesn't need these players. So this is supposed to show you he doesn't want to be any part of it. Arquette made it to the tournament. How long can they continue to do it? They don't have the football money to back them. So Shaka Smart knows he has to coach his players hard just to get them where they are. But he don't stay the agents away. You don't want to play here. You don't want to play here. And that's that. So I give him credit for trying to fight the system and at least have some sort of success with it. And we'll go from there. All right, Jacob, go ahead.
I'm in two sides on all of it. I'll say this here. I'm on two sides of this thing. In one case, NCAA, I've said this 1,000 times, they've had it coming. Like a guy like Rick Majerus, who followed so darn many rules, and they sanctioned him once because he bought one of his kids who lost his mom or his dad, I forget which, bought him dinner just to check him out overnight just to see how he was doing. And they sanctioned him for it. It's a gift. You know, and they did that to other coaches. I mean, they had to step on eggshells. The only one they didn't eggshell was try to do that was Bobby Knight, because Bobby Knight would have probably thrown him out of his office physically. It's just true. But it's like they're just scared of him. But it's like everybody else they did that to. But in the other case, where we're at right now is poor parenting, piss poor parenting. The triple P. It's because you get somebody who's in an NCAA tournament, like in Michigan with the Pippen and whatever. Oh, I'm only making a 1.5 a game. I'm going to leave now so I can get more. You don't care about he could leave. He could leave a ring. You never know. It's like you're going to get these players. You could be leaving a championship ring, especially going from the Sweet 16. The odds are tough. But you could be leaving that. And parents aren't teaching winning. They're teaching selfishness, think their own end. And that's really what we're seeing on this. This is what travel ball does. This is what for baseball, basketball, and everything. AAU, it teaches that. Get your own. Get everything like that. It's not teaching win, get a trophy, everything like that. And it's telling them all you want to do is win, you're selfish, but they're selfish by thinking themselves. So it's kind of it's kind of two sides of the same coin. You know what I mean? So that's the big thing I'm at is like, I absolutely believe the NCAA has put it on themselves and there needs to be a regulation in a certain way. But in the other end, parents, teach your kids how to be a team, how to play it right. Teach these kids quit. I mean, right then and then, teach them how to finish what they started. Unless a coach is completely screwing somebody, and a 1.5 a game does not mean you're getting screwed. It means you're not playing well. Teach them that they need to practice. Teach them these things in life from birth on. And it's obvious they're not. That's where we're having a problem with manhood right now. That's probably one of the big problems.
Well, I'll say this. Justin Pippen leaving, I never cared for Scottie Pippen in the first place. But really, Justin, maybe he felt he'd get an opportunity to play somewhere else, but the timing for him. But there's a lot more like Justin Pippen out there. I never cared for Scottie Pippen. I don't think he ever deserved to make the top 50 NBA players of all time. But then again, maybe that's the Detroit Pistons attacking the Chicago Bulls. So that's justifiable. Don't say anything,
No,
George
you're right.
Corner, because we've talked about it 9 million times. Okay, Pensman.
All right.
Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it.
I
All right, Pensman.
don't think the portal should be in college at all. You go to the college, you pick the college. The portal's ruining things, especially now. North Carolina's eliminated. They were out last week, and now there's one player, two players that just because they're out, they want to play again. You lost fair and square. You played your 40 minutes. You had your shot. You lost. College football is the same way. I think the portal should be gone and done with. So you graduate from the school you committed to. That's why I say.
Don't hold your breath, brother. It's 2025. They ain't going anywhere.
I know
Pensman,
it's not
really?
going anywhere.
Seriously? Really?
I know it's not going anywhere. I'm just saying it should not even be in the system.
Yeah, well, okay. There's perception, there's reality. And I'll say it again, Pensman. Really? Seriously? Really? But that's okay.
Yeah.
And
We'll
Scott,
we'll turn it over to Candy.
So my 2 cents, not that that's anyone going to give that to anybody for an image and likeness at
After
all,
inflation.
but exactly. But my 2 cents is NIL. There needs to be some kind of a regulation on it, but good for the athletes to finally be able to get some of the money that the NCAA has been making on them for years and years and years. What I definitely disagree with is the transfer portal opening up before the complete end of the season, because now not only is that a disadvantage to the teams that are still playing and take away from the teams that are playing. And I don't care if it's one of the players that's I don't care if it's one of the players that doesn't play and is a bench player. It affects the rest of the team, him leaving the team that's still playing. But it also affects the coaches, because one of the things we've heard is coaches nowadays have to recruit their own players all over again. So is it a distraction that some of these teams have good players, they're no longer in the tournament, and they're out there looking at other teams, other schools, other good coaches that are out there that are already eliminated from the tournament and are out there recruiting some of their players as well. So transfer portal needs to start after the complete end of the season. Do I agree that the transfer portal should be open? I do, because I think kids should have a right to go where they want to go. And if they want to be with a certain coach, let's face it, Vlad Golden started here down at FAU. He transferred with Dusty May. Dusty May recruited him. Dusty May left for a better job up in Michigan, higher paying. So Vlad followed him. I'm not going to say that was a wrong move or that he shouldn't be able to do it. He definitely should be able to, because circumstances change. Just like if you had a job and you wanted something changed and different manager was brought in and you didn't like him and you wanted to switch, college kids should be able to do the same. But they should not be able to do it until the end of the season. My 2 cents.
Your 2 cents is the timing is just simply bad, and that's it. But the timing isn't bad when I ask you to go out there and give us a station break, is it?
You are listening to the South Florida Tribune's YouTube channel. If you see that red subscribe button, please like us, share us with all your friends and family. The South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth, and the foreword was written by another panelist, George Eichhorn. Both did an incredibly great job. It talks about Scott's 40 plus years in the industry and how it has changed. Some great stories, a great read. You can get your copy today. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, which has a plethora of great content. Go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you want to advertise, call Scott, 954-304-4941. And if you have show ideas, you can, or want to be a guest, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Back to you, Scott.
Well, the true meaning of the sports exchanges, we cover a lot of different sports tonight. We're making our opportunity to do it. What have we got so far? We got into boxing, talked about baseball, we're talking about basketball, and now we're going to talk about golf. Really? Seriously? Really?
We got to talk about something else with a B. Come on.
Oh, no. Now, Penman, you can defer on this one because I don't think you want to be bothered, but yeah, choice to talk about it. But Stephen A. Smith said on First Take, Tiger Woods with his ruptured Achilles, that he's been down, that he's now considered a recreational golfer at this point. All right, Penman, do you want to defer or do you want to actually have a comment on this one? Recreational golfer.
I want to comment. I think
Tiger Woods is an icon. Oh, that on golf. Yeah. All right, great stuff.
Yeah, Tiger Woods is an icon of golf. He should have a say in it. So that's my take. And I hope he plays in the Masters next April 12th and 13th. Don't forget to watch that too.
There you go. Hey, he got a golf comment in.
You got it.
He's a recreational golfer, but let's not realize that Tiger Woods has done some unbelievable things at the Masters. All right, Joe, what do you think? Is Tiger Woods rather a recreational golfer with all the myriad of injuries, or ruptured Achilles? Nothing to snooze about, man.
Well, the PGA better hope he's not a recreational golfer. He's the biggest name they've had. Yeah. He's always the biggest name. They haven't found anyone to replace him name-wise. Kind of like look at the NBA when Jordan left, or when Magic and Bird left, they had Jordan. When Jordan left, kind of there was, a little time, and then LeBron came. Golf, who do they have if there's no more Tiger? Who's the guy that everyone's dying to see? Rory? Nah, Rory's got no juice. Rory's not bringing the person that doesn't care about golf into golf. Jordan, LeBron, Magic, Bird, they brought people that didn't even know what basketball was to the arena. Rory is not bringing a guy that could care less about golf to go watch it. That's the problem. Tiger does that. So the PGA better hope that Tiger could get well, or somebody else comes that captures the imagination of everybody.
I think the last guy that really captured the imagination of anybody, I think, is John Daly. There's a guy that can hit that ball. Think about Joe for a minute, okay? The blonde-haired guy that hits it from all the way from Maine to Alaska, this guy. He did. I mean, John Daly. But the drawing card. He really was.
He was definitely a character. That's the problem. There's not many characters in golf. It's very straight-laced, which is the way golf always kind of was. Right. Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
All right, George, what do you think?
I was fortunate enough to see guys like Lee Trevino, Chichi Rodriguez. You talk about when golf was fun to watch.
Right.
Back in those days, those guys had everybody laughing, and they had great timing. It was just a fun sport to watch. I know what you're saying, Joe, but the fact of the matter is that if this man is hurt as much as he is, you got to face reality. He ain't going to be what he used to be, and he may not even be able to compete in select tournaments if this doesn't heal up properly. He's had a lot of tough health issues, as we know, the last 10 years, 8 years, whatever Tiger has. I'm hoping he can come back, but I think they've got to broaden their horizon, and these rival leagues don't help matters anything. But the fact of the matter is, I agree. Tiger's been the best thing that happened to golf since he started. No question about it.
Well, Tiger represented two things. That not only was he a drawing card, but he proved to be a successful African-American that played the game well and opened up the opportunity for other African-Americans to play in the game. So Tiger's impact is more than just at the box office and on the ratings, but could have challenged with Major's record if he hadn't gotten hurt and self-destruct in a lot of ways. That's a day for another time. We were just talking about his injury and what Stephen A. Smith said, which I totally agree, that the way he played, he does look like a recreational golfer because he can't make any cuts, and he's hurt. Jacob.
Two things. Number one, we're going to bring up the past. Chichi Rodriguez's, the Lee Trevino's, Gary Players, all of them. I mean, you want to know what? The mic was a little closer to the thing, so we kind of heard them. They were funny. They had personality, all that stuff. They were saying anything they wanted to say. People are scared to half to death now because, oh, that offended me. No. This is what needs to happen with those people. There needs to be certain people. John Daly can do this, but producers are afraid to do this. There needs to be certain people that says, I don't care. Or whatever, I don't care, over and over. Let the outrage just keep moving, but then it'll run out. Then they'll find someone else to grovel. But see, if you do that enough, there won't be enough to grovel, and then it dies. That's where people hit. But let's talk about Tiger right now.
Sure.
The thing about Tiger is he started TGL with Rory, the video league, because that's all he has with his leg, and he still got hurt. That's the problem. The only golf he was playing was video golf where he could walk about 6 feet. And yet he still got hurt, even with just in training or whatever. I don't think he's playing anymore. I really don't. I mean, I was going to say that, JB. I don't think it's like they can say it. They can be training. It's kind of like I'll bring up a wrestler thing, JB. Arn Anderson. He thought he was going to come back after a neck surgery. And someone just tapped him right on the shoulder one time, and he dropped his whole weight. The other day he was working out with, and he says, that's it, I'm done. Just because he literally saw that he'd go the thing. That's what's going to happen to Tiger. He's going to train one more time. He's been for one more Masters probably. He's going to wrench something when he does one of his ridiculous torque drives. That's what he's going to do. And he's going to realize that's it. It's kind of what I was bringing up with Ohtani. I was saying I didn't think he would pitch anymore, or it's going to be closer to not pitching. They keep holding back his comeback for his pitching. And it's because guess what? They're hitting. His hitting's that much better. And that's why I was bringing up last year. And I had it, even though it's not 350 or 60, his hitting's just that much better and more consistent without him pitching and playing all the time. And I had an idea that would happen. That's what's happened. Tiger's going to try it one more time because he's competitive. But you're going to get to that point. You got to remember, at 50 years old, his daughter found him on the ground and couldn't get up. His body's not there anymore. And he's going to keep trying because he's competitive. But and even if he does do it one more time, he's going to leave before the cut.
Well, I got an interesting text earlier that says, is TGL a success or a failure, and that they should let Tiger build his own course rather than doing this stimulator thing. Anybody have a comment on that?
Yeah, I've watched it a couple of times. I mean, if you're into golf, it's definitely an alternative on a Monday or Tuesday night when it's on,
Right.
when there's not a lot of the programming on. ESPN's filling their airwaves. I don't really think it's a failure. I think it's just a different way of playing the same game, and it gives guys that may not be able to walk the course or, have the physical stamina or, to be able to still play. Is it a failure? Was its first year? I can't say anything failed in its first year. I mean, they finished the season. So, I mean, they didn't fold mid-season like some football leagues. I mean, is it a success? I don't know. I think anytime you have a new league and they can get through year one, I think that's a success. I don't think it's easy to create a pro league of any type. So I disagree with that comment completely.
Yeah, that's okay. That's why I put it out there. With him building his own course versus a stimulator. I'm not so sure about it, but I thought it was certainly something I wanted to talk about since we were talking about it. So it was worth it.
Scott, if you're going to use a simulator, just use it for your son. Also, that way Tiger's son can use it. That way he can play his game better, because he's going to be phenomenal when he gets up, and he might be the next Tiger the way he goes. Because Tiger and his son, Jacob's shaking his head, but I saw Tiger and his son play together, and I thought he had a lot of Tiger in his game. I don't know, though.
A lot of pressure on that kid, though.
It's
not easy to, Tiger is a legend. You know,
I know
he may
that.
not be in that shape now, but now you're competing with a legend. That's tough. I wouldn't want to be in his shoes.
Here's another thing too. Here's another big thing to remember about this by itself. He's seeing his dad, who's still relatively young, and he calls him an old man just out of the, being joking teenager, whatever, calls him old man, but his dad's still relatively young. And he's seeing his dad beat half to absolute death just at a younger age. Right. That kid's not going to stay that long. He's not going to do it that way. He's going to see the lessons of what he sees his dad. I mean, who knows if his dad's on a cane at 60? Who knows? And his dad beat to hell. Like I said, 50-year-old, his daughter had to help him up because his back. It's like that kid's going to know that he's not going to stay doing. Will he win some things? Oh yes, he's wonderfully talented, but he's not going to have the same thing because Tiger was like Jordan. He was psychotically competitive. I don't think this kid's going to be that psychotically competitive. I just don't see that. He sees what happened with his dad physically. I don't think he's going to want that.
Hey, fair enough. We'll let Candy have a word on Tiger. Let's say it was the original point. Recreational golfer at this point in their career with a ruptured Achilles. Oh, my goodness.
So he ruptured his left Achilles tendon. This golfer's surgeon said he's expected to make a full recovery. Let's not forget, he is 49 years old. He hasn't played a PGA Tour event since missing the cut at the 2024 Open Championship in July. He played just 5 tournaments last season, only making the cut at the Masters. However, he has competed 4 times in the TGL Simulator League this year, most recently on March 4th. He has appeared in 11 PGA Tour events since February of 2021 with his car crash. He has 15 major titles, second all-time to only Jack Nicklaus, who has 18. His 82 career PGA Tour victories are tied with Sam Snead for the most ever. He hasn't won since the 2019 Zozo Championship. His last major title was the 2019 Masters. What sport at 49 can you be competing for championships other than golf? If he wants to do it, more power to him. If that's his motivation, if that gets him up in the, every day and to compete and to do that, more power to him. Who am I to tell him he can't do it? He could outshoot me any day of the week. Now, if he makes the cut, great. If he doesn't make the cut, what has he lost? He's gotten his body in shape. He's still competing, showing his kids that he still has that desire and want to do it. And he earns some. He should have, with all his career, he's already earned respect from all of us, because none of us have done that. So if he wants to do it, good for him. Let him keep trying.
Yeah, well, his body's going to give way. And you're correct on that. I like that, but his body's going to give way.
Well,
right.
Let's put it this way. The PGA is hoping that Stephen A. Smith is wrong, that he's not a recreational golfer at this point, and that's really that's what we're talking about anyways. You don't want to be a recreational golfer because the PGA needs Tiger more than they even realize it. And Joe Ellis even mentioned it himself. You don't have anybody out there to carry the throne that has the impact that Tiger was. That's all there is to it. And by the way, a little trivia here. Tiger Woods and I are both Capricorns. I think he's either the 30th or the 31st, albeit I'm 13 years older than this guy.
And Scott, one last thing about this TGL league. We all talk about, or some of us talk about, like, JB, you were talking about how you went to Tokyo and it was at a dome stadium. TGL is guaranteed to have their games, their championship, because they're all inside. So whereas golf and all your major tournaments rely on the weather. It could be raining and then the audience is down. So maybe this is the way for them to be guaranteed to have their games, their matches, their championship, and it'll bring in, let's face it, a lot of people are streaming things now. Why not this? It's the up and coming future, I think.
Okay. All right, let's move on. And I'm going to go to a non-sports topic. Tesla has lost nearly $1 trillion since December 17th. Would you ever invest into a vehicle which is dealing with massive recalls? And it's just amazing to lose $1 trillion since December 17th. All right, we'll start off with you. I don't think any of us can afford it, but let's just do a little daydreaming here. We'll start off with you, Pensman.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't feel safe going into the car. There'll be too many issues going down the road, and no, no way.
And Brian Newdall, you're right, my friend. We got everyone tonight. And get used to this, because this tandem of 6 is going to be what you're going to see every week. Jacob Christopher has been a great addition. J.B. Ellis is back, better than ever. George Eichhorn, I've been doing this for over 40 years anyway. Candy Evelyn's been doing it, and now Pensman's the latest one. So we have them all tonight. We're going to have them all every Wednesday night at around 9 o'clock. Candy, what are your thoughts about Tesla?
Too much hazard right now. I would not be investing in it. Could it at some point make money? Sure, but is it the wave of the future? Obviously, at some point, but would I invest in it? No.
I'm happy with my Hondas. You got your Civic, and I have my Bull Cruiser, my condo on wheels. All right, go ahead, Joe.
Listen, taking politics out of it, because I don't want any political talk on it. I don't think the electric cars are the way to go right now. The batteries don't last long enough. I like to drive. I could wake up and drive from Chicago to New York in the morning and not be bothered by it. I can't do that with an electric car. Then you put safety into it. And right now there's issues with a lot of the recalls and everything. And then you throw the political climate in there, not taking sides, because I'm not looking to go one way or the other. But with all the issues there, I wouldn't want anything to do with that brand or that company until everything's resolved. And I drive a hybrid. I don't understand why we can't get more miles per gallon using gasoline. I get anywhere from 40 to 60 miles per gallon with my truck. So it could be done, and until we get to the point where electric is the answer, it's not there yet.
I agree with that. And obviously this topic's not designed to talk about politics, as you well know, and we both understand that anyhow. The whole idea is when you have a lot of recalls, it validates what you're pretty much saying, Joe. This thing isn't there yet. And that's the whole idea why they're losing $1 trillion. And the power companies can't handle everyone with electric cars. I wouldn't be caught dead driving a self-driving car. I'm too aggressive behind the wheel. You need the Motor City Man Mouth or the Interstate Intimidator driving. You don't need something driving me around. The only one that drives me around is Candy. And that's because my doctors don't want me driving more than 15 minutes by myself anywhere else. But when I get on the interstate and she's there with me, my doctor, Karen, on Friday when I had my appointment, neurologist said, "You drinking your Diet Mountain Dew when you're on the road?" "Oh, yeah." "Oh, then you're doing pretty good on the interstate." I said, "Yeah." Candy said, "Yeah, I need a tablet when he's on the interstate because he's in a zone." So yeah, I don't need no self-driving cars. I still have that big foot there that knows how to put my foot on the gas. And with Diet Mountain Dew being the drink for the Motor City Mad Mouth, and I don't care about no sponsors with that one. It is what it is. And when my doctor knows I'm drinking it, it isn't bad. I'm with you, Joe. I don't need no electric cars. I'm happy with my Honda. All right, Eichhorn.
Go back to follow. I'll tell you what. Would I invest in it? Probably not, for some of the same reasons our fellow podcasters mentioned. This country has endured some very, very difficult blackouts. Okay, I was part of one in August, many, many years ago, when it hit the Midwest and the East Coast. And then all of a sudden now, we know we don't even have a solid infrastructure all the time for electricity. Now we're going to put everybody in electric cars. To me, it was just too soon, too fast, too pushy. And I'm with you. I'm staying with my gas-powered car. I just think that it's just, I know it helps promote better environment, but I still don't think it's right yet to put it on everybody. So I say no. I'm not going to invest in that.
But I would invest in a Jacksonmobile. Bring it back, George Jackson. Seriously? Really? Seriously? I want George Jetson back. You didn't have to deal with I-95 with him. All you did was go upstairs, up, and away, and tied the clouds, man. Forget about these stupid airplanes. I want the George Jetson back. Really? Seriously, really? Welcome back, Joe. All right, Jacob, go ahead.
Do you really want the air to be jammed up after that? Because everybody's going to want that too. But here's the thing. Here's the thing with this, and I see what you're saying, JB, about the thing, but this is the deal. Brian Nudall's correct on that. We don't have the grid. That's number one. But you said the political climate yourself. Remember this part. And you're correct on that. And it's like we're still so early into this type of deal, and you're seeing certain senators promoting that they got a new gas guzzler SUV. I'm not going to do it at all. I'm not investing in it at all because I don't see it being around. And you got to realize this: Tesla is the number one market share. If the number one market share goes down, Rivian doesn't have anywhere near the market share to make up for that. There won't be enough for those, and then they'll have to start all over again, like they did 15 years ago with the electric cars. So, would I absolutely see at the beginning when I thought about it? I was just saying because they'd say it'd be about 312 miles before you have to go recharge it again. My thing was I want to see 400 first. Now, and I don't have no fear about somebody doing something with mine or whatever. I don't get the fear and that stuff. I'll just bring a ball bat with me. I don't care. But none of my worries. It's just the fact that now, just the way that they're building and what's going on and the way everybody's thinking, I'm getting the feeling that's going down. The electric cars will go down, and then we'll see them in the next 10 years. Try it again.
Yeah, I won't be alive to see them then. Alzheimer's get me before then. And I know it well. It doesn't matter. All I can tell you, the best vehicle I can tell you is my wife Candy's Honda Civic. Every time she fills that thing up, I see 350 miles and you can drive that thing. I know we're getting up pretty reasonable when it comes to traveling in the state of Florida. When we went over to see the Miami Hurricanes up in Orlando, was it, Candy, about a tank and a half that got us back and forth, and that was about it? That wasn't so bad. You take the Bull Cruiser up there, it'd be a little expensive, but it doesn't matter. We got two different vehicles, two different roles. Honda Civic is better than that stupid electric car, and I'll tell you, I made a great deal with those people and fleeced them over at Honda. I love fleecing car dealers. I really do. That's one of my favorite pastimes. I'll tell you, if a car dealer has to deal with me, a woman having a baby would be less painful than them having to deal with me. I hate them. Let me tell you, car salesmen are a bunch of chirping birds looking for their ups. Ever heard that before? You're dead now. Chirping birds looking for their ups. How do you really feel? It is what it is.
Candy, you got to keep him around 100 more years.
Yeah.
Trying.
It is what it is, man. Hey, I got to be around. I got you guys hanging around. If I'm not around to tell stories of you guys, who am I going to tell them to? On the air, we're having a blast on the Sports Exchange. We're talking electric vehicles. We're keeping politics out. We're talking about the ugliest vehicle on the planet. I'll tell you, this vehicle looks, on Esther of Sanford & Son, looks a lot better than this stupid pile of, what do you call it, iron? I don't know what you call it. On Esther. Fred and Sanford criticized her for being ugly, but these are worse. Tell me how you really feel, Motor City Madmouth. Really? Seriously, really? Okay. Back to sports. Xavier is expected to hire New Mexico Cat coach Richard Pitino as a new head coach. He'll now coach in the same conference as his father, Rick. Since J.B. Ellis knows the Pitino's awfully good, what do you thought about Richard going to the Big East?
I'm shocked. I thought he was going to Villanova. It was reported. They just never signed the deal, and Xavier came out of nowhere and took him. A great move for Xavier. Pitino knows how to coach. Their system is very similar to his dad's. It's a good move for Xavier. And, they got a big-name coach, and they were always a decent team. I think that, that was a good move for them. I think they'll be good for years to come as well.
What do you think,
I like
George?
I like Bobby Hurley's comment that he has to get his brother Danny in now to even out the sides. He's got to get him a Big East head coaching job.
That's funny. I like that's a good analogy, Joe. Thanks for putting that in there. All right, George, what do you think about?
I tell you, I felt sorry in a way for those guys. They kept showing them. as Michigan beat them the other day, and Daddy was in the stands, and his son coaching on the sidelines. Obviously there's a winner and loser every game. But that being said, that was really a poignant moment when they had to, kind of console each other in the loss. But I think it's a good move for Xavier. I really do. I think that is a good move, and it'll be interesting to see them now. Like you said, in the same conference together, they'll get those matchups much more frequently than we ever could see in a more open scheduling of a non-conference foe. I mean, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Should be good. They brilliant coach and a brilliant son so far in his young coaching career.
What about you, Jacob?
I remember years ago, Shula's faced each other 4 different times. Mike and Don. Don beat them all 4. Right. This isn't going to be that because Mike couldn't coach, so he couldn't head coach. So that was going to be a day. This ain't the case. Richard is good, so this is going to be a nice little deal there. But it's so hilarious. We can see. Look at our ages now, the gray hairs, everything like that. Doesn't it really come out when we see the Hurleys and we remember them on the court in the 90s, and then on the court, then they're gray now, and then you see the Suns, and then you see the Izzo doing, and you remember when Izzo did one, and then his dad, and then the son, and the Sweet 16, Izzo's got that too, and it's like, and then you remember when Izzo had the wave of his hair, and now he's thinner and gray. And it's just a reminder. It's just a reminder. We wake up every day a little older.
All right, Candy.
It's always been a dream of his to coach in the Big East. So kudos to him for dreaming it and making his dream a reality. He's had success where he's been. Patino led the Lobos to the 2024-25 Mountain West regular season title and back-to-back NCAA tournaments following a 10-year tourney drought for the program. He upset Marquette in the first round game on Friday, but fell to Michigan State in the round of 22. But they played hard. I mean, and they kept playing. He went 88-49 in his 4 seasons at New Mexico. He's 42 years old, previously coached at Minnesota and Florida International. I think for me, it'd be interesting to see him coach against his dad and how that transposes and transpires on the court. That'll be interesting, I think. But kudos to him for the success he's had and for going out and dreaming something and making it a reality, because that shows perseverance and shows determination, and I like that.
What about you, Pedman?
I was happy to see Rick being there at watching his son play, even though I know he wanted to be in the tournament still. And what New Mexico did to Michigan State in the first half was incredible. I thought New Mexico was going to come out there with the upset, but you can't take anything from Izzo. That's why there's halftime, to get Izzo and his team get to right the ship back, and they hopefully Xavier can be good with him. I don't know, so hopefully he'll be a defensive coach like his dad. So we'll see how it is. It's going to be exciting to see the father and son duel, like Candy said. So it'll be fun to watch.
Everybody on this panel is right, but I have a soft spot for New Mexico. And I'll tell you why. George probably knows why I do. When I was traveling all over the country, I'm like Bob Ryan. I tried to see as many sporting events in different states. And I had a chance to go out there. And one of the things on my list was seeing a game at the Pit in Albuquerque, New Mexico, the same place where NC State ended up winning their 1983 national championship. And I'm going to tell you something. If you've never been to the Pit in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and New Mexico is a nice campus, it's a place you need to go because they stand up practically the whole game, and it is loud. You are on top of the floor. It's an electric atmosphere. So while I understand you want to go to the Big East and face his father, I still have a little sympathy for the New Mexico Lobos. And think about it. Once upon a time, Steve Alford coached there, and there's probably a lot of other good coaches that have passed through. So I'm happy to see Richard, but I still have a soft spot for the New Mexico Lobos, and I enjoyed the way they treated me at the pit in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Great stuff. All right, one more college football topic we're going to get to, and then everybody will have their own parting shots. The last time Texas A&M and Michigan played in the NCAA tournament was on March 22nd, 2018, when the Wolverines whipped the Aggies 99-72, and the Wolverines were coached by John Beilein. Michigan was 31-7. Texas A&M was 22-13. Let's move the clock a little bit forward to the future. The Wolverines and Dusty May took care of the Aggies 91-79, and they were able to win, knowing that they were the topping. Texas A&M went into the game fourth seeded, and Michigan being the fifth seed. So all it took for Michigan was the efforts of Vlad Golden and Danny Wolf to do it. So my question to you is, I've given you the history about the Texas A&M versus Michigan, the two games. Now the Wolverines have a tough task in facing Auburn, the number one seed in the entire tournament. I'm going to go back to Joe. Do you think the Wolverines have an opportunity, or they can beat Auburn?
I'm hoping so. I want to see Michigan State for the Final Four. I think that would be, like the Patino-Cal round 2 matchup. It'll give this lifeless tournament some life. Listen, I've been saying from the beginning, I could care less about the SEC. I'm not a fan. Too many teams. Listen, they've played great. They got 7 here. But I want a story. I want to see teams, with upsets. I want to see good basketball. And, I would love to see Michigan State for a trip to Phoenix. That's what I'm hoping for.
Now, if I understand correctly, if somebody wants to correct me out here in the chat room, that's okay too. I think that these two teams would meet in the Elite Eight. I don't know if they make it to the finals. So I know where you're coming from. That's a matchup that could happen, Joe, but I believe in the Elite Eight.
Right, which would be a trip to the Final Four for whoever wins.
Right.
Oh, right. A trip for the final. I'm sorry, Joe.
Yeah.
I misunderstood you. Okay.
Yeah,
sorry
no worries. That's why I think it would be so impressive. Usually conferences wouldn't meet until they got to the Final Four. But because there were so many teams, because these conferences have 8 million teams in them now,
right.
They're throwing everybody together. It's just wild.
I missed the part where you said for a trip to the Final Four.
Yeah.
On that.
No worries.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Okay, let's go to Brian Newdall. Iowa State took them early in the season, so at Michigan. So, all right, interesting comments from Brian. Like Jacob, he's one of our buddies over in Scriber and the chat room. I know Jacob to do a little bit of promotion in there. Thank you very much for getting our people who are lively in that chat. Get them on the show. That's what we need to do. If there are teammates, it can be more lively in here, and that way I don't have to hear all these updates throughout the show. Give them to me afterwards. Good stuff. That's a pretty lively chat, though, isn't it? The Inscriber and the sideline chat room. So all right, George, local guy, Michigan, Auburn, Bruce Pearl, Dusty May. What do you think?
Well, I think it's going to be an exciting doubleheader down in Atlanta. Michigan and Michigan State, obviously, both playing in the same region. You got the number 1 seed. It's going to be tough. It'll be tough for Michigan. They got the Twin Towers, though. These guys can rebound. They can block. They can shoot. They can score. I mean, Dusty's got quite a team there that he's assembled, and really, really deserves a ton of credit. I think that it's going to be a very, very close one, though. I really do, and I can see it going either way. But I guess as much as I like MSU and U of M to matching up, I still see Auburn winning that game by less than 5 points, by 4 or 3 points. I really do. But hey, everybody can still be excited about it. Nobody's going to listen to my prediction anyways.
Nobody's going to listen to mine either. But it was interesting to see Michigan take on Texas A&M. I'll go back to what Joe said.
Very interesting.
To see a Big Ten team beat an SEC team. We're all happy, especially since 14 of them made it, and there were no Cinderellas. So I'm with you, Mr. Ellis. Just because you went to Tokyo, you must have been keeping a little bit of tabs on what's going on here in the States, even though you had a lot of business to take care of in Japan. And by the way, Joe, if you get motivated, I'd love to see you write a story on this one, because maybe the next time we get your credentials of the next overseas deal. A little bit of a goal for you to shoot for, Mr. Ellis. It's good stuff, brother. All right, Jacob, what do you think about Michigan against Auburn?
I could see Auburn win it. And I met Bruce Pearl years and years ago. Like when I was a kid, he was over in Southern Indiana and was playing Quincy. So met him once or twice. Good guy, real excitable. So I can say I met him win. But if it was Michigan State, all we need right now is like Michigan to blow it by losing the ball and Michigan State taking a dunk with 1 second left, kind of like the equivalent of the football game. We need that. We gotta need that little situation. Do it right in the Final Four.
Well, it's amazing how you say you met him. Candy and I actually met him a couple of years ago over at Talladega, right, Candy? And I talked to him for like a couple of minutes. Bruce was really nice to me. He was telling me I could tell you all kinds of stories about the NCAA, and he was going to be outspoken. One of these days, I'm going to get out to Auburn and finish what I started out there. But he was at Talladega, and back then I was trying to get the feel for the track, but Bruce Pearl is on my list to get to an event and see an Auburn basketball game, whether it's in the state of Florida or somewhere else. But that is on my to-do list. Candy, your thoughts about the Michigan-Auburn game?
I think it's a tough matchup, but there's a reason why they play the game, and you see upsets. And not that we've seen as many upsets this year, but you see lots of upsets. So can Michigan do it? Yes. Do they have to be firing on all cylinders and have a really good game? Yes. They need to be making sure that they're rebounding both on the offensive side and the defensive side. That I think is going to be one of the keys to their game. They're not a huge 3-point shooting team. So I think when they need to be hitting when they do take those, though. So I think it'll be a good game, though.
What do you think, Penman?
If Michigan gets Auburn in foul trouble early, I think Michigan can run away with it. But if Auburn does what they've been doing, I think Auburn's going to win this game. But if Michigan gets them in foul trouble, rebound, plays defense, then it's going to be – but I think Auburn's going to pull it out. But I agree with George. It's going to be a 5-point game with Auburn pulling ahead late in the game.
Well, everything's close with Dusty May. Think about it. They played the University of California and San Diego, only won by 3 points there, and they had a big 15-point lead. Here's the key to this game. Michigan has to make their free throws because they're erratic at the free throw line, and that's what kept the University of California, San Diego, I believe the Tritons, I don't know, whatever the name is. Tritons. So that kept them in the game because they're indigent free throw shooting, but they have to stay out of foul trouble. Last thing you need is Vlad Golden getting 4 or 5 fouls and you're having to nurse them all the way to the end. That's the biggest thing. Michigan, especially Vlad Golden, has to stay out of foul trouble, make their free throws. They got a shot to win it. And I'll take Michigan in a close game all day long because they've lived that way. But Auburn is faced with that pressure being the number 1 overall seed in the tournament. And if there's ever a time when Bruce Pearl should be able to try to capitalize on it, they'll be able to do that. But there you go. So with that said, we're going to go to our parting shot. All right, Penguin, lead off.
Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they got rid of all their quarterbacks. They got Mason Rudolph back. Now the question is, well, what will Aaron Rodgers do? Will he go and sign? Will he sign with the Minnesota Vikings? The Minnesota Vikings are back in the picture. I don't know, but Pittsburgh Steelers, please make a decision. You're making fans mad. You're making me mad because I have nothing to report. You're making Cam Hayward mad. Just Steelers make a decision on Aaron Rodgers, please, and move on. That's my parting shot.
Candy, what's your parting shot?
So I know none of you live in the Milwaukee area, but for those people that are listening that do, you know that there is a frozen custard place by the name of Kopp's Frozen Custard. Bob Uecker often joked that Kopp's gave him free custard anytime he got a hit. So it was about once a month, he said. Now, the Milwaukee institution is giving the Milwaukee Icon something even better, his very own flavor. Mr. Baseball is the name of the flavor. It's caramel malt custard with beer nuts, fudge-covered pretzels, and a splash of Miller Lite. It's scheduled to make its debut as the flavor of the day March 31st, the Brewers' home opener. The real Mr. Baseball would have loved it. R.I.P. Bob Uecker.
Joe?
Once again, fans and gamblers are idiots. R.J. Lewis, who had probably his worst game of his career in the round of 32, went 3 for 17 from the field, was harassed by gamblers, and I don't know what they were fans of, but I'm sure they're fans of something. And the man deleted his Instagram. He was the Big East Player of the Year, the Big East Tournament Player of the Year, a great leader, a good young man, and yet these despicable animals who lost money because they chose to bet on something are attacking a young man. Grow the F up and be a man or a woman and stop blaming others for your action. And if you're a so-called fan of St. John's and you did this, you're not a fan. Don't ever attack a player in that type of way, because then you're just a piece of garbage, plain and simple. I don't know how many times I have to say that. I seem like I have to say that a few times a year, because it happens over and over again. It happened with the running back on Minnesota. I can't even remember his name right now.
Adrian Peterson?
Him. No, not AP. It was Madison.
Okay.
Happened with Madison. It seems to be a constant thing. So stop being a keyboard warrior. You don't know what it's like to play college or professional sports. So just get over yourself. Just because you could go on DraftKings or FanDuel and put your money on there, get over it. You are a loser. Don't attack an athlete. He's a person. She's a person. You don't ever do that. You don't have a space at our table. Turn the channel off. Go home. You're not welcome here.
Well done, Joe. Okay, George.
Well, as I mentioned in my column, South Florida Journal, I am looking so forward to opening day in Detroit. It's a holiday. It's a fantastic opportunity, and it really is a festive atmosphere. But first of all, the Tigers have a tough assignment, obviously, playing in Los Angeles against the world champions as they get their banner raised and their rings handed to them. But AJ's back for a 5th season now. The dazzling 31-13 Tiger record over the last 44 games last September and late August. And the Tigers made the playoffs, as you guys know, for the first time in 10 years. So it's a new season. They really haven't made a whole lot of changes, which I don't think is going to help the situation. And of course, now the injury bug is biting them too, as Meadows and Verling are out. But looking forward to the start of the new baseball season. Detroiters have to wait one more week, a week from Friday, but we'll see if the Tigers can contend again in the AL Central.
Okay, Jacob.
I have been off and on in the movie business about 20 years, off and on. So this is going to go to Rachel Zegler and the whole thing with Snow White. See, I was going to give a whole thing tonight. I wanted to wring her neck, but I heard from somebody that I know that they already sent somebody down there to do that. They gave her social media gurus, all that stuff, and kept her out of the way, all that kind of stuff. It didn't help, but I want this. So I'm instead, since she's already been reamed, I'm going to kind of be nicer on this one in a way. When you did your little stunt that you pulled, you forgot something. See, you're from New Jersey. I realize this. But it's just like any coastal man or woman from California, New York, New Jersey, any of those. It's like any coastal one. You have this world that you think the bubble, it's only yours, that you're in that bubble. You have this problem about that. And they all think like you. Here's a little deal. You have little girls who might love Snow White. They're in Nebraska, Oklahoma, Missouri, then Illinois. You have Iowa. You have the Georgia, South Carolina. I can name them. Texas. I can name them on and on and on. A lot of small towns, everything. A lot of them are traditional. They still want to be princesses for Halloween, and they still want the knight in shining armor, and they want the prince. They do. And a lot of them still. And there's a lot that want to be girl boss. Cool. Glad to hear it. I'm glad there's all different personalities for this world. Understand. This is the thing. I know you're going to go back in a theater for a while and let this blow over when this is a deal. But here's this thing. The next time around, whenever you're doing this, understand your fans are everywhere, of all different types, of all different shapes, of all different sizes, all different everything. You don't say your thoughts and everything because you just think everybody's on your side. You don't do this way. You can't think that people are just in your bubble and those are your fans and they're the ones in the theaters. Everybody from everywhere. And if I would have heard that stunt the way she did it 18 months ago, I'd have pulled her right off that thing and restart the whole movie. And I'm not kidding. It's not the acting and it's not the color like some people made the controversy. It's not that. It is what it is, any of that side. It's the fact that there needs to be a lesson made on something like that. You have to get fans from everywhere, especially now, especially in a streaming world. Everywhere. That means everybody. And I'm talking to everyone who's ever running a movie. I'm writing a script right now. Has to go for everyone. That means I would love, and I want to do an action flick. Guess what? Women are stronger now. Women do fight now. But women also do want men. But at the same time, you have to look at both. So that's the only thing I'm going to say tonight on something like this is we got to get off of this coastal mindset. We have to get off of that, and we have to forget the divide. That's the first way we get rid of this divide is understand that everybody's in this world. And let's start learning about each other.
I'll make mine a little bit shorter. Number one, I don't have a parting shot. I have a couple interesting notes to observe. Kudos to the Nova Southeastern University women's swim team. Why do I say that? They have a little dynasty there called the Third National Championship. There's a school that's a Division II school in our neck of the woods, known for their incredible basketball tradition with the men's. And now the women did the unthinkable, and they won their third consecutive national championship for women's. More power to them. It's a good little school on our media distribution list, and they've done a lot of good things, and we're proud to have them as well. And kudos to Candy Ebling. Why do I say that? She's not only the mastermind of the South Florida Tribune and Sideline Sports, but within the last calendar year, she covered the NFL draft. She's been to the Super Bowl, and now she's been to the Pro Day for the Miami Hurricanes. But what made this Pro Day a little bit different? How about this? Like 90 to 100 people from the NFL scouts and staff members were there to watch 20 guys give it everything they had. And Candy, I consider it the trifecta when it comes to being able to cover big events in the last 3 years. But she didn't get this opportunity because she is who she is. She got it because she worked her tail off and is able to go out there and not only take incredible pictures, but videos. And she's certainly my rock when it comes to keeping a lot of these things together, especially as I continue to deal with, unfortunately, my Alzheimer's disease, which is, I hate to say this, is getting worse. But I still keep my passion going because she's taken over the wheel probably 90% of the times. I have my moments. Candy, you did a great job, but you hit the trifecta, my goodness. And not only that, we've had a couple of spring training games in the last 2 weekends, and we're off to the NCAA Women's Final Four at the beginning of April. So good job, Candy. You hit the NFL trifecta. Everybody on this panel is proud of you, especially yours truly. You didn't get anything, you earned it. And that's the best part about it. And everything you've done to build these 2 websites from the ground up, God bless, Candy. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
And the odds of getting me in a theater, a movie theater, would be the odds of getting the Middle East and Israel to be peace. It ain't going to happen because everybody keeps telling me to shut up in the theater because I think movies out too loud. George Eichhorn has seen the people come after me before you're a little loud. They said, well, get over here and move over. And that was before social distancing was ever. I'm not trying to ruin your thunder, Jacob, but taking me to a movie theater isn't something anybody wants to do. I understand writing a movie, but my movie is keep me at home. Otherwise, I can't go to those places. There's certain places certain things I don't like to do. I hate roundabouts. I really do. Candy will think I really, really, truly hate them. And that's why I really don't care for driving in Michigan anymore, George, especially in the suburbs. And sitting in a movie theater is tough. But that's why we have streaming and we have movies at home. And that's why I have Bucky and Boobs and Candy to watch this stuff there. Great show. Great to have Mr. Ellis back. Really? Seriously? Really? Oh, yeah. Well, we'll be loaded next week, but not quite as loaded because we had a lot to catch up with Mr. Ellis gone for a couple of weeks. If it gets a little bit easier next week or doesn't, I don't know. But with this group, I want to make sure that this group can talk about everything. And tonight, the Sports Exchange definitely lived up to its name. So with that said, Candy's going to give us a little more station break. Everybody's going to let everybody know how they can get a hold of them.
The South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth, and the foreword was written by George Eichhorn. Talks about their years in the media business and how it has changed. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website that also has a link to our merchandise store and a plethora of great content, so go check it out, www.southfloridatribune.com. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you see the red subscribe button, click it, like us, share us with all your friends and family. If you want to be a guest on a show or have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you want to sponsor a show, you can always call Scott, 954-304-4941. Monday nights, we talk baseball. Tuesday nights, we talk football. Wednesday nights, on Sports Exchange here, you never know what we're talking about. Thursday nights on Fire Up, you never know what we're going to be talking about. But preceding this tonight on the Motor City Mad Mouth show, it's a one-on-one interview show. And Scott had the queen of hoops, Megan Price, herself on. And they talked all things basketball, from NBA to women's to men's college basketball. So go check that out. And then on Thursday nights, Scott also talks a little NHL. And I can tell you, as a preview to Fire Up, one of the topics we're going to be talking about is some of the different cuisine you will find at ballparks this summer. That's it, Scott. Back to you.
All right, Jacob, let everybody know how they get hold of you.
Well, I'm on Confidential. I'm on this place right up over here. I'll do guest spots wherever. I was just telling them I will be on Friday in the morning at Truist Park. I got a credential to be able to be over there for the opening weekend in Atlanta. So I got that credential. I found it in my email. Don't know how, but I've got that. So I'm going to be on over there 9 to 11 a.m. So I might be asking a question or two and meeting Dale Murphy again. I met him once already. So we'll see what happens.
Great stuff. And go out there and write a story. We know you're a good writer when you want to do it, so it'll be an opportunity for you to get it out there. Great job, Jacob. Love having you back on the show. You. All right. And then let everybody know how they get a hold of you. It's probably pretty easy, but go ahead and put it up there anyway.
You can find me here on Wednesdays and Thursdays at the South Florida channel. You can find me on X on Pensman Sports. You can find me on YouTube at Pensman Sports. Tomorrow, the New York Yankees and Milwaukee Brewers play at 3 o'clock. Tomorrow night, when I come home, I will have shorts up of the New York Yankees. So it's baseball season. So go ahead and subscribe to the button. So I appreciate it. I'm right around the corner. So get that 1,000 subscribers. Thank you.
There you go. Special shout out to Samir. Joe, what's this guy's last name? Samir, I don't know what his last name is. But this kid wrote, huh?
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Well, anyways, I know him by Samir. He wrote a nice article for you guys. And I told Candy to dupe it here in the South Florida Tribune. I retweeted it out and got a couple of good responses out in the Atlanta market. Samir, keep up the good writing. We want to promote everybody from both sideline sports as well as South Florida Tribune. You did a good job. This kid understood what it was. Keep it simple, stupid. Samir did that, and I got it out to as many places as I could. Keep it up, kid. All right. With that said, George, go ahead and let everybody know how they get a hold of you. Thanks, Brian Udall, for your activity in the chat room. Much appreciated. Troy Gary as well. George Bovoris and Brian Pettit, to name a few. We appreciate your activity. Go ahead, George.
All right. You can reach me at the South Florida Tribune website under the contributors. I write columns about Detroit and Michigan sports. And at the end of my column, there's always a little information about my book. I wrote a book on Detroit sports broadcasting on the air. Thank you, Candy, for showing that picture. And you can click on that to take you to the Amazon buy page. You can find me on X, Sanji Sports 99, on LinkedIn, on gicorn@yahoo.com. And look forward to this show as I do all the shows on the network. I love the baseball show, 108 Stitches, and of course our Sports Exchange and our other great shows we've been doing together, the hockey show.
There
Good
you go,
job.
George. Yeah, you and I are inseparable anyways. All right.
That's right.
We leave JB Ellis last. Go ahead, buddy.
JB_ the program on X, SidelineSportsNet.com, the brief version, Sideline Sports Tuesday, 8:30. Everybody have a great night. We'll see you next week, Scott.
You got it. All right. Well, my final closing thoughts are rest in peace, George Foreman. Good luck to Michigan Wolverines tomorrow night against Auburn. That said, that does conclude this edition of the Sports Exchange. I'll thank everybody that joined us tonight. See you next Wednesday night. God bless. Have a great week. That does it for us. Good night, everybody.